Hello, hi. So welcome to Waffle Wednesdays. This is the thing I'm calling this series. It is kind of dumb, probably the dumbest name of any series on F1 YouTube, but that's what I'm going with, and trust me, it makes sense. Basically, on Waffle Wednesdays, as you can tell, we have a different set, still with the snowman. He's my only friend, so he has to stay. But it's a series where I'm able to talk to you guys. Just none of the fancy graphics, none of that, just talking straight F1, and I hope you enjoy it because I think it's kind of fun. And that's why today we're talking about Mercedes and the absolute kind of pickle they have themselves in right now. Now, here's my take on the whole situation with Mercedes at this very moment in time. The fact that Russell got into that car was not a part of Mercedes' plan whatsoever, but they were kind of forced into it when Lewis Hamilton unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19. And the thing is, going into this race weekend, it was everything was Bottas's to lose. If he beat Russell handedly, and it was no question, sure, good job, you beat someone who's been in a backmarker car for the past 2 years. Congratulations, and he's a kid. Who cares? But then if Russell bests him, he looks terrible and like a chump because he's been in this car since 2017. He should outperform him. So it was all Bottas to lose, and all George could do was just do his best, and that's what he did. And sure, George Russell wasn't able to nab pole on the Saturday, but he was only a 10th behind Bottas on the front row of the grid, right next to the Finn. So, Bottas should have beat him more handedly than he did, and then the race happened. George just went ahead and raced literal circles around Bottas. He took the lead on the opening lap of the race into the first corner and just bulleted away from him after that. Just no end in sight until all the shenanigans happened behind him, and unfortunately forced Bottas to get close up to him again. But he still stayed ahead of Bottas, and even after all the trials and tribulations of dropping back down the order, having to pass Bottas again, and that move into that middle sector was just best overtake of the season. Don't at me. That was impeccable. And I really think this whole situation really shines a light on the situation at Mercedes as a whole. They're very much in this pickle right now because this kid just came out and demolished their normal second driver in a car he's never driven before in his racing career. So what does this tell them about Valtteri Bottas being viable as an option in the future when they have this kid who's just hungry and ready to win, when Bottas just kind of sits on the sidelines and supports Lewis? And this coming from someone who in the past has supported Bottas. I've made a video about him saying how I think he's the perfect man for Mercedes, and if people watch that video now out of context, they're going to think I'm insane after that race just happened. But now I'm kind of seeing the light. I'm seeing the fact that this could be the end or the beginning of the end of Valtteri Bottas at Mercedes. As we know, he only has the 1-year contract for next year, and that could actually be in jeopardy. Even if Lewis is recovered from the virus, he's already won his championship. Mercedes already has their championship. I say let George have another shot in Abu Dhabi, see what he can do, and see if it actually is a viable option to put him in that car next year. And I'd just like to point out, at the Colin Card on Twitter, great follow by the way, posted this picture of the points over the last 6 races. First place, obviously, Lewis Hamilton with 127 points. Second, Perez with 69. Verstappen with 61. Sainz with 56. Ricciardo with 49. Bottas is 6th place with 44 points. That's not good. That's very telling as to where his pace has gone. And what's really troubling to me is the fact that he got raced circles around by a younger kid who's been racing in a backmarker machine for the past 2 years. I have this weird feeling that that's going to do a lot to damage his confidence behind the wheel of that Mercedes. And obviously only time will tell, and unfortunately there's only 1 race of the season left to judge this. But I don't think he's mentally very well after that result. And I'm not claiming to know exactly what's going on behind the mind of Valtteri Bottas right now, but I can only imagine that must be very damaging to your confidence, and you better hope that the team just instills that confidence back in him, because he is a good driver, but there's a better one that's just right behind him and gunning for that seat. And I think Russell knew that going into that race on Sunday. He knew he had something to prove. He did his talking on the track, and that's all you can ask a rookie to do. He proved his worth to Mercedes, and I think to all of us, and I think he finally proved it's not just the car. Now, I do think Valtteri Bottas is the safest option for Mercedes in 2021. He is tried, he is tested, he is true. Mercedes knows what they're getting into when they put him in that car, and there is a sense of unknown when it comes to George Russell. I think Russell would be quicker, but he's still a kid. He still has those growing pains to go. It was one race, it was a very small sample size, and only time will tell. I do think, though, George Russell will have his time in that Mercedes. I see him going in there in 2022 with the slight chance that Mercedes just reacts quickly to this and puts him in the car for next year. I'm doubtful, but I think it could happen, possibly. Who knows? But that is the first rendition of Waffle Wednesdays. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Feel free to lick the stamp, send that subscribe button down below as always. Leave a like if you really liked it, and don't miss the apex. Peace.